welcome back to Feardromida. I am your host, StevyJoe,
And I'm the announcer.
and today we are going to be talking about the creepypasta crowns. And to explain this made up term that I thought of while I was in the shower today, the creepypasta crowns are basically the three most popular creepypasta characters. When you hear creepypasta, these are usually the first three you think of. Now, announcer, what when you hear creepypasta, what are the three characters you think of? Be honest, you don't need to make up the bit for the sake of the stories we're covering.
My microphone was muted. My bad. Slenderman.
Slenderman,
Slenderman, Jeff the Killer, and then Russian Sleep Experiment.
Russian sleep experiment. Well, we already covered that last one. So,
Yeah.
you got two out of the three. The third one we are going to be covering is the Rake. Not exactly in that order. We're going to have Jeff the Killer last, just because having listened to it a few times, it's definitely going to kill the mood that the other two are going to set up. So we're going to have a nice little spooky mood, and then we're going to get into shenaniganery with the last one.
Second rate sheboingery.
Let's start with Slenderman. Now, what do you know about Slenderman?
He's in the woods. He has pages. If you don't find the pages, he kills you.
So,
That's about it. That's all I know.
yeah, it really depends on who you ask with the lore and all that stuff. I'm going to send you this photo. So the origin of Slenderman was he was kind of an art project on the Something Awful forum. I forget the name of
Okay.
the person who made the images. Let me just.
Is there more?
So Eric Knudsen, or he went by the screen profile of Victor Surge. So he made the first images of Slenderman. So if you can Google them, you'll see like in the background it's basically just a tall figure just standing in the background on like a playground or behind a
Mm.
group of kids. And a lot of it is a lot of the stories and lore and all that stuff came just from the few images you saw. And then a good chunk of lore was inspired by marble hornets. I know you've heard uh, some people talk about them in your Discord server. And
Don't out me as a moderator like
guys,
that. They might.
announcer's a Discord moderator. He's
No.
50,000 pounds.
No. That's not true.
He's trying to save his image. He is 50,000 pounds. I've seen him. I've measured him myself. He's 50,000 pounds.
What are you doing measuring me? Why are you measuring me?
Well, you see, when you get into my car and the entire car leans towards your side, I'm going to be a little concerned about how much you weigh.
Great. Now everyone's gonna think that I'm fat.
It's because you are.
It's no, I'm not. I'm not. Guys, I'm not. I swear.
Until he can prove it, everybody's going to think you're fat.
Same.
Anyway,
Anyway,
Marble Hornets was a. You could probably argue it was like the first analog horror found footage internet YouTube series because the essential story of it is these people tried to make a college film, and in the background of one of the videos is they don't call him Slenderman, they call him the Operator, which I think is sounds a little cooler, which is the whoever likes Marble Hornets usually comes to that consensus of the Operator sounds cooler than Slenderman. And he was just in the background of one of the videos, and then more supernatural stuff started happening because of it. And then there was a theatrical release, which I can't remember what the name was. It was He Watches a Slenderman Marble Hornet story. Let me double check that. No, it was called Always Watching a Marble Hornet story. So it takes place in like the same universe ish of Marble Hornets, but it's different set of characters and all that stuff. I really like the movie. Some, not some, most people don't like the movie, including the people who actually made Marble Hornets. So that
What about Slenderman's gay cousin? I like Menderman.
I think that was a meme. I don't know. It might be canon. DeviantArt did some weird things in the early internet
Yeah.
days.
Oh, gross. Not DeviantArt. Oh, not that pile of
Well,
trash.
you got to keep in mind most of the drawings and art of the more popular creepypasta characters. So Jeff the Killer, Slenderman, Eyelash Jack, Laughing Jack, Jane the Killer, all those characters were
Jane
Jane the Killer.
is a
So
woman?
we'll we'll talk more about the insert name the killer characters after like when we get to Jeff the Killer. But all the popular creepypasta characters, a lot of them were just drawn on DeviantArt. Like if you just go into Google and type in Tiki Toby and go to images, and a majority of the drawings will be like digital art, DeviantArt drawing styles.
What am I
That
looking at?
and that and anime boy cosplays.
What am I looking at?
Tiki Toby, which is another popular creepypasta character.
All right, here we go.
Oh, he's prepared. I'm also prepared, but I'm going with water this time because my throat felt absolutely horrible after reading 3 stories, only satiated by Baja Blast, so.
Oh my god.
Yep.
Oh my god.
So,
This is my OC, Toby. Toby Rogers.
so at a later date, we probably will read Tiki Toby. If enough people like us going through the creepypasta crowns, we might go through the uh, the pasta princes. That's how we'll start it. So it's the creepy crowns, and those are like the most popular, and then the pasta
It's not as
princes, which is like you have to be kind of involved in creepypasta in order to understand what their character is, but they still exist. They're still very popular.
I was just about to say. It's not as bad as I thought, and then I saw a My Little Pony version of Tiki Toby. Oh, oh, Tiki Toby X Clockwork. Here we go.
What? Oh yeah, there is a character named Clockwork. So
Um,
that's another creepypasta character is Clockwork, and they have like a stopwatch inside their eye, or like a pocket watch, and they just cut out one of their eyes and just.
I just thought that this person was really bad at drawing eyes.
No, it's a clock.
Okay. Oh, hey, there's another one. There's another Clockwork X.
Announcer, get off DeviantArt.
No, I'm not even on DeviantArt.
I don't believe you. You keep looking at all this.
I'm
Like,
at. I just.
The tab's
I'm
already
on,
closed on my computer.
I'm
Just.
on Google Images, so I'm getting the filtered. This is very
Okay, here's a quick side tangent before we continue getting
2016.
back into Slender Man. Did you ever do that thing where you didn't know DeviantArt existed or any of those like art platforms existed? So whenever you wanted to see fan art of a show, you just Googled like
Yes.
Ninja Turtles
Yes.
fan art, and then you just
Yeah.
look at Google Images.
Yes. Yeah. I didn't know that. Like, people posted art. I just figured like you just posted it on Google. I don't know how you did that.
I How does stuff get on Google Images? Like I know there's
Um,
a bunch of links that
it's
take you
just.
to the proper sites. I don't know if there's like a actual.
Are we really? I think just when you post an image, Google is a database, so it's like just a data bank.
Mm.
So it just because Google's not like. Sorry, what? Why is he yelling at me to get naked?
What? What are you talking about?
There's just a picture of Tiki Toby pointing at. Well, not really pointing at me, but he's just like pointing in my general direction, and it just in gold letters with pizzazz all over the here. It just says "Get naked."
Don't
Okay, let me.
don't show me the image. I do not want to see that. I didn't want to
I
see
don't.
that.
Well,
Why
I
does it
had to
say
see it.
everyone loves a cowboy
I
at the bottom
don't.
corner?
I don't know what this image is. David Tennant, 10th Doctor, Doctor Who.
What? Okay,
Why
no,
is he in my Google search?
we're getting sidetracked. Well, David Tennant is pretty cool.
What are you
Anyway,
doing in my falafel?
obligatory Doctor Who reference out of the way. Back to Slender Man, the person we're actually supposed to be talking about right now.
Sorry, I had to see
So
the community unfiltered.
a lot of the consistencies with Slender Man is he also has these things called proxies, and they're basically henchmen. They do his bidding and all that stuff. And trying to think of more stuff. His proxies get powers like a a bunch of the a bunch of the Slender Man stories and all that stuff typically try to input the Rake into it as well and say that the Rake was a proxy of Slender Man who became a monster or he got powers or something like that. Personally, I
Okay.
don't. It's very dependent on what lore you go with. And for this story, Tall, Thin, and Faceless, it is a Slenderman story that I've heard about and I think would be really cool to read through. Because Slenderman doesn't really have a story around it. Also, giving credit to Harble Mornitz, who is apparently the author. At least they are the that's the name of the author on the creepypasta wiki, which is where we are at.
Guys, no, I'm not Marble Hornets. I'm Harble Mornits, guys.
Well, the it Marble Hornets, I don't think you understand, it was very big for Slenderman back in the day. And so a lot of people based a bunch of their lore off of Slenderman or like off of Marble Hornets.
I see. Do you want me to read this one? Because I don't mind reading.
Yeah, if you want to start reading this one, and then I'll do the Rake, and then we'll do kind of a collaborative effort with Jeff the Killer, because I don't feel like either of us are going to have the constitution to get through that one.
It's at any given point, it's gonna be Tom Hanks dragging that guy on the battlefield of Normandy,
I'm
and it's gonna swap whether that's me or you in Tom Hanks's part.
I hope you know that if I do Jeff the Killer's lines, I'm going to be trying my best Joker impression.
Okay, you're not reading. I'll
No,
read it.
come on, please, please.
Okay,
I want to do my Joker impression.
hear me out, guys.
Hear me out, guys.
All right,
Let's start with Tall, Thin, and
Halted
Faceless.
and faceless. Walls, white walls, white padded walls. Day in, day out, white padded walls. Let me tell you why I see these white padded walls day in and day out. I am, or at least according to several doctors, certifiably insane. Hallucinations, paranoia, schizophrenia, multiple personality disorders, the list goes on and on. I was a normal working class man, living the American dream. I had a wife and 2 children. My income was high and my debt was low. I had it all. Then things started to go wrong. They started to go in a direction I couldn't even fathom. My wife and I had always wanted to go to the British Isles, but for the longest time the money wasn't there. It took 7 years and two promotions before we could even think about realistic think wow.
Tripping up.
It took it took 7 years and two promotions before we could even begin to think realistically. Anyway, after months of careful planning and preparation, we were on a plane flying over the Atlantic Ocean. Just me and her. No kids, no job, nothing but beautiful scenery and relaxation for 24 straight days. Fast forward a week, having taken in many of the big city sights, we decided we did. Whoa, my dad! I'm gonna try this paragraph over again. Hold on.
I'd just like to point out that he's certifiably insane, and leading up to this, he went to British territory. What
Coincidence? I think that.
what happened to him? He went to London. Dear God.
Anyway,
Anyway, getting back to it.
fast forward a week. Having taken in many of the big city sights, we decided to see some of the smaller places out in the countryside. We packed a small bag of essentials and took a cab into the rural side of England. This is where things started to go wrong. Not the whole world is coming to an end wrong, even though it sure felt like it. Just wrong. We came across an old tailor in a moderately decorated cabin. He said he had been making suits for over 65 years. My interest was piqued. I decided to splurge a little bit and buy one. Where's my phone? What the fuck? It's on the floor.
Why is your
That
phone
was
on the
on the
floor?
floor.
Why is your phone on the floor?
Because I thought it wouldn't be picked up on the microphone, but apparently it was 10 times louder.
It was very picked up on the microphone. I thought you had that set to do not disturb, dog.
Well, just in case I get a phone call from work.
No, that's fair. I mean, like, if you have it
Um,
on do not disturb and just set it right next to your desk, it'll still show up.
oh my god, Ryder. Thank you.
Anyway,
He's pulling my.
I'd
Anyway,
just say start that paragraph over.
yeah, that was loud as hell.
That surprised me.
We came across an old tailor in a moderately decorated cabin. He said he had been making suits for over 65 years. My interest was piqued. I decided to splurge a little and buy one. Nothing beats the craftsmanship of a home tailored suit. After paying for it and calling it for a cab, a picture on the wall caught my eye. It was old, black and white, mid 50s. It was a very tall and very slim suited man standing on a grassy plain. His face appeared to be smudged out. It was old. I didn't think much of it. Even so, something about this picture was unnerving. It gave an odd vibe. It almost felt menacing. I inquired about the photo, but the old man refused to talk about it. That just added fuel to my mental fire. Days upon days had passed. My wife and I took in every sight, every castle, every grassy knoll we possibly could. But alas, eventually we had to go home. Part of us wanted to stay, but we were exhausted. There was no way we could spend any longer here. Our flight back home was vague as we were both asleep most of the time. The drive back was also hazy. We just wanted to relax. As I pulled into the driveway, something was off. Something didn't feel right. I got the same feeling I had when I saw the picture inside the tailor's home. It was a feeling of dread and curiosity. I didn't want to continue, but my mind forced me to. I stepped out of my car, and when I stood onto the concrete, my legs suddenly gave out. I fell to the ground, onto my right hand, and found myself unable to force myself up. Must have been more tired than I thought. My wife helped me up and supported me up to the bedroom. I was going to be asleep for a very long time, or so I thought. That night I was plagued by nightmares of the suited man on the grassy plain. It wasn't really a bad dream as much as it was his presence haunting me in my subconscious. Just standing there, unnaturally tall, unnaturally thin, standing there without a face, without an identity. No matter how hard I tried, his face never focused. It was as though the picture had come alive in my thoughts but remained unchanged. This went on until I was abruptly woken up by the sound of a smashing lamp. I raced down 2 flights of stairs leading from the bedroom to the living room, armed only with the brick we used as a doorstop. I slowly crept to where the only lamp in our house used to be. I knelt down and picked up a piece to examine when I felt a slight blow of wind from behind me, like a person running past. I shot up faster than a startled cat and spun around to see what or who it was. My eyes had still not adjusted, so surrounding me was nothing but darkness. My next thought was to listen. Nothing. Not a single thing. Not even the sound of the house settling. Maybe it was my nightmare, or fatigue playing tricks on me. Maybe we had a slight tremor that caused the lamp to inch off the table. Regardless, I was tired and I sorely wanted to get some nightmare-free sleep. It didn't happen. Throughout the rest of the night, the slender man was everywhere within my dreams. He was a bit curious, though. He only ever seemed to cautiously hide behind trees. Only in the original photo was he completely exposed. Even subconsciously, I wish I hadn't moved next to a forest knowing he could be lurking, watching, analyzing me. It didn't take long to force myself awake. 10:46 a.m. I looked to my left, I looked to my right. My wife was calmly sleeping. Lucky her. I dragged myself out of bed and slowly made my way downstairs. I half expected the TV to be blaring with my kids' my kids' eyes glued to the screen. But then I realized that they were at their grandma's house. They were due back that day. I was going to miss the quiet. It was all right. I miss my kids even more. I continued down the stairs, hoping to get a game of solitaire in on the computer, when something made me feel very weak and hollow. The lamp wasn't broken, but it was brand new. Either someone had taken the pieces and shoddily glued them back together, and the glue wasn't glue. It was black and rubbery like tar. I would have tasted it for origin, but that's never a good idea. My wife needed to wake up. Soon. I was starting to panic.
Why would anyone ever try to think about tasting something like that?
I don't know. This looks like
Yes,
tar.
there's tar on my lamp. Like that. What? No, throw the lamp away. Here's the other
Uh,
thing. You wake up, and the lamp that you found smashed on the floor last night is suddenly put back together. Call the cops.
this was broken, and now it's covered in black splooge.
Yeah, there's this construction worker living inside my house, and he put a lamp back together with tar. I send someone down here. I don't know what's going on.
There's someone in my house.
Okay. Anyway,
If I was in that situation, I definitely
my
would be
first
calling the
reaction would,
cops.
yeah, my first reaction would not be to taste it. And I definitely wouldn't just have a brick for home defense.
Keep a musket in my house for home defense, as the founding fathers intended.
Anything's better than a musket. Or, sorry, a brick. A
One
musket would be
tall,
preferable.
gangly fellow breaks into my house. What the devil, I say? So I grabbed my powder wig and Kentucky rifle.
Slenderman was only hanging out in Britain. He is not ready.
He's not ready for America, guys.
He is
Trust me.
not ready. He is not ready
It must be
for my
California.
9 mil.
Slenderman may be able to haunt your dreams, but he won't be able to haunt this house after I take my strap out.
Hold on. I almost want to do a bit, but I don't really want to do it.
Mr.
So I'm gonna
Slenderman,
grab.
meet Mr. Colt. He would like to get acquainted with you.
Hold on. Hold on.
Oh boy, what's he going to do?
Mr. Slenderman, I'd like for you to meet Glock 19.
I think you two should get acquainted.
I think you very much would like him. It's similar to a camera. See, I pointed at you.
Now I know
And
you
I
don't have a
just simply
face, but smile and wait for the flash.
smile and wait for the flash. Uh,
There are actual, I like cosmetic kits for handguns where you can get engraved on the front of it, smile and wait for the flash. Those are actual things you can get.
what?
I would
That
totally
lamp
buy
is.
one if I wasn't worried about how that would look in a courtroom. You say you
Mr.
have this for
Slender.
self-defense, yet you have this on the front of your gun.
I can
Why
explain.
is that?
Well, Your Honor, would you like to smile and wait for the flash?
That's no.
Hmm? Your Honor?
How'd you get that in the courtroom?
Hmm? I thought you confiscated all his guns. I don't know. Poor
It was
lawyer.
in my prison pocket.
Oh my god. Alright, this is.
But yeah, regardless, this must have been like this must be California because I don't I don't know anyone who would live at least in our area who doesn't have a bat at the very least.
This guy just must have. He must be in one of those
Hold on,
neighborhoods.
hold on. He used to be a baseball player, and so he can throw a brick just as fast as a speeding bullet.
Okay. I don't think Slenderman's ready for that one either.
Slenderman
Slenderman's just
doesn't
not.
realize that he's haunting. I don't know anything about baseball. Insert famous baseball player here. That one.
Babe
That's currently on
Ruth.
screen right now. That famous baseball player. He's haunting him.
Sorry, I just think it's like, oh, Mr. Slenderman. Welcome.
If only it worked like that.
If only. I mean, we don't know.
It might. They haven't tried it yet.
Uh,
But
have you tried it?
I would try it. The worst that could happen is he just kills me. However,
The best that could happen is
if I'm going to die to a supernatural apparition, I'm going to die swinging.
the second worst thing that can happen is it works, but you can't hit a single shot.
What's that supposed to mean?
I'm just saying.
Like he's super fast, or are you trying to say something about my aim?
No. Like you just miss. Like that'd be a bad way to go. It's like this guy's like attacking you, and bullets 100% work on the guy, and you left, aim for his head, and nail the tree next to him. Like,
Gosh
shit.
darn it, he was point blank range too.
Fuck. Can we try this again?
T.
Time. Hold on. Wait. Time. Okay.
Okay, put the gun back.
Okay.
Alrighty, that was a fun little
Anyway,
bit.
Yeah, fun
Getting
bit,
back
fun bit.
to, I
This.
explained what happened.
I explained what happened the night before, about the lamp and the nightmares and such. She just rolled her eyes and told me I was on something. Wives. Sometimes I think they do it on purpose. Still feeling uneasy from this morning, I managed to force myself to look out into the forest behind our house. It was very calm, nothing out of the ordinary. It wasn't completely dark, so it didn't look nearly as ominous as it usually did at night. I was badly lamenting this night in particular. Suddenly, I saw a light out of the corner of my eye that caused me to nearly jump out of my skin. It was just the kids getting dropped off. I swear I was thinking too much into this. I couldn't keep my nerves steady half the time. Hours passed. We played with the children. We put them to bed. We relaxed on the couch. My wife was asleep on my chest, and I was nodding off. I slowly closed my eyes. It wasn't long before the quiet was broken and my wife and I were woken up. Window broke upstairs. I panicked in flurry. We ran up the stairs as fast as we could. Our eldest son, scared out of his mind, said it came from his brother's room. Without even thinking, I kicked the door in. Only the nightlight in the far corner brought me light in the pitch-dark room. And there he was, the man from my dreams, the slender man, hovering over my son's bed. Having seen him, I acted without even... What the fuck? What the hell?
Quick, throw the brick at him!
Wait, do you hear this music?
What?
I don't. I don't know where it's.
What are you talking about? What music?
The U.S. Army? Oh, oh my
What?
God! The military parade started. I forgot I had it in the other tab. So it was just like this. So it was just like as soon as it said this figure hovering over my son's bed. The U.S. Army served 250 years. Like what the? What in
He
the?
kicks in the door and it's just a dude in full dress uniform. Hey, kid. How would you like to join the U.S. Army? Sir, no! He's not even 18 yet!
No, please. Anyway,
He can still sign the contract, can he? Then
all right.
I understand why you were so freaked out. If I was just sitting there and then all of a sudden I just hear music start up as soon it's like
It was like it sounded like the War of the Worlds trumpet,
it
followed by like a bunch of like beat drops and stuff like that, and I was like, what the?
Slender Man, except every time he's on screen, RGBM music starts playing. It it would be on par with if we were reading the Harbinger experiment and
Yeah.
Living in the Sunlight started playing as you started reading about it.
I'm so happy. Oh.
I
We
hate that
did
song.
end up actually listening to the song, and I was right. The bit was funnier knowing that I was getting it completely wrong.
Anyway,
Getting back into it,
the Slender Man hovering over my son's bed. Having seen him, I acted without even knowing what was going on. Punches were thrown, long black tendrils whipped all around. Last thing I remember was being held tightly above the ground and thrown against the wall. That's when I blacked out. When I came to, my wife was in tears. I had three cracked ribs. My son was gone. Slenderman had my son, and there was nothing I could do. But I knew he was going to come back, and that was when I could get him. The rest of the day was full of emotion. My wife could hardly stop crying. My other son was in constant state of shock. I could barely think straight. I did, however, manage to call the police. I told them my son had been abducted by a man in a long black suit. I kept the details of the tendrils to myself in fear that they wouldn't believe me. But that was the least of my worries. I needed to figure out when he would return. The police showed up and took each of our statements. They examined my son's room and did a quick scour of the forest outside. It seemed not a single piece of evidence could be found. They had begun to leave when something hanging from a very high up branch caught their eye. It was a piece of material, black, pinstriped, much like the suit I bought while I was on vacation. I pointed this out to the police and they inquired to see my suit, gladly showed them the way. When they opened the closet door, what they found was beyond belief. Wrapped in my tattered suit was my son, completely drenched in blood. He didn't look conscious. Both myself and the police were shocked and disgusted. That's when I blacked out. When I came to, I was in an unfamiliar place. Gray painted walls, small windows on one of them. One exceptionally bland table. Great. I was in an interrogation room. I sat there alone for the good part of an hour before an actual human life entered the room with me. Now my memory is a bit hazy at this point, so I'll try and sum up the conversation as best as possible. The officer said,
your son didn't survive. Deepest sympathies to you and your family. You've not been proven guilty, but evidence leans towards it. A further investigation must be held. You will be brought back home, but you will be under constant supervision.
and so on and so forth. I was driven home in the back of a police cruiser. Last time I was there was in high school when vandalism was the cool thing to do. I was welcomed with open arms for my still sobbing wife and my emotionless son. Going back wasn't easy. Thankfully, we didn't have to stay long. The police explained that we were going to stay at a hotel for a few days. We were gathering our things when a picture from the fridge caught my eye. It was one of my late son Drew. When I saw it, my heart nearly stopped. In the cutest crayon drawing you can imagine, my standing next to a tall, faceless man in a black suit. I made sure no one was around to see me stuff it into my pocket.
He stuffs it into his pocket, and he just sees in the corner of his eye just 1 out of 8 pages collected.
Oh,
What? Wait, what is this? Is this a video game HUD? Oh dear God!
oh
That
God, no.
honestly, if I saw my kid, or if I saw a drawing from my kid, like after he died. Well, did it say that he drew it I don't think it said that he drew it before or after the kid was dead. If he drew it before he was alive, then that would cause some alarm, cause it's like, what the hell are you drawing, child? But if it was after he's dead, that's even more concerning, cause how could a dead child draw a picture?
Yeah, I don't know.
Also,
Honestly,
here's a question, since you know more about how police operate than I do. If the dad is suspected of child murder, would they send him back to live with his family?
no, that'd be like a long, several week investigation. If they if they took him in, they wouldn't just be like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna send you back for supervision." Because obviously, if
Why'd they
this guy
take him in the
is,
first place then? If they didn't
I,
if they didn't suspect him, why'd they take him in the first place?
but if, well, here's the thing: if he's like, "Hey, my son got abducted," and they found him in his closet in the suit, and he passes out of like, I guess what they would see is sheer
Shock.
shock. The last thing I would see them doing is arresting the guy. They might detain him and take him in for further questioning because, at that point, he is a suspect because it is in his closet, in his suit, and his kid.
Yeah, I would 100% think he'd be a suspect if they found he's like, "Oh, hey, that's the same material from a suit I bought." "Oh, you bought a suit? Where is it?" "Oh, it's up in my closet." And they open the closet and the dead child's just right there. That
In the
would
suit.
in the suit. That would 100% be enough reason to suspect, "Okay, you just went crazy and killed your son. You're not going
But
anywhere near your kids."
then they need to interview the wife there.
True.
So they wouldn't just pick up the guy and be like, okay, yep, you're coming with us.
Well, they'd
Come on
have
with us, pal.
I don't know. I don't feel like they would
They'd at
just
least.
I feel like it's redundant to take him and put him into an interrogation room just to say, "Shit, man, I'm sorry your kid's dead," and then just bring him back home.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. They'd at least separate the two.
Yeah.
If they suspected him, they'd at least bring him outside of the house. They bring both of them outside the house because they don't want them to be there with the kid. They'd call medical. While medical was coming, they'd get the wife's statement. They'd get the little boy's statement, the other kid,
Mhm.
and then they'd get the dad's statement. And if they all pretty much matched, then he's still on the suspect list because people can say things and they can just be wrong. They can be lying out of nerves or shock or whatever. But like he still wouldn't be dragged away.
Yeah.
Um,
And
but
and pretty much all of the stories would be, we opened my son's door, there was a man in a black suit, my dad, husband, whatever, tried to fight him. The man beat him up and then took the kid away. So I guess all the stories
yeah,
would check out. I just don't know how. I just don't know why they would take him to an interrogation room and then just drive him back.
well, under supervision, yeah, that makes sense. Tell well, like the coroner and everything, the coroner, the detectives, because they keep the scene kind of where it is. They
Hmm.
take the body away and they do like a full
Autopsy and
investigation. Yeah,
investigation.
they'd probably
Would
find the
they
lamp, the weird goo.
the weird goo lamp?
Yeah.
Would they keep
So
the husband and the wife and kid in the same hotel room, or would they put the husband in a different room?
As of this point in the investigation, the husband is not a suspect. Unless other evidence suggests otherwise, they're gonna keep him there. Um, Now, if they really, really want to, they can separate them. But more than likely, they're just going to be like, yeah, whatever.
I just had a question about that because whenever you listen to these stories, because I've listened to this story before, you don't really think too closely on some of the details. You're just kind of enjoying the story. But then when you actually sit down and read through it,
Mm-hmm.
and I guess partially we're being a little nitpicky as well
Mm-hmm.
because we're sitting here, we're reading through it, we're paying attention to every word that's stated. So and again, I don't know how police matters work, so I was a little confused why they would just take him to an interrogation room and just say, "Sorry, your kid's dead," and then take him back.
So your kid's dead.
Hey, man,
Um,
shit happens.
well, now here's the other
Anyway,
part.
enjoy the Holiday Inn at the edge of town. They
He
got a
passed
pool.
out. He passed out.
Mm-hmm.
They should have, in fact, taken him to
To a
medical.
hospital
Yeah, he should have woken up in the back of an ambulance
or a hospital.
or a hospital, where then a police officer could, kid, look, bud, your son's dead. I'm
Hey,
sorry
man,
about that.
shit happens. Enjoy the Holiday Inn at the edge of town. They got a pool. Getting back into the story.
Yeah, sorry. I'm watching the
Parade.
parade in the background. It's
Mm.
not started yet.
Well, now we need you to start reading.
Yeah. The hotel was what you would normally expect. Simple wallpaper, two twin beds, one TV, cheap, flowery design on everything else. It would have to do since we were stuck here. We settled in, placing our stuff and lying down. I, on the other hand, went to the bathroom. The only place I knew was private. I locked the door and took the picture out of my pocket. I scoured the page for clues, but to no avail. All that was there was the crude drawing and his name scribbled into the bottom corner. The thing that unnerved me the most was the fact that the Slender Man had no face, no identity, not a single outstanding feature. It rattled me to the core, but I'd had enough stress for today. I needed sleep. Badly. The night was rough, but I still managed to fall asleep. Not a single dream with the Slender Man either. Then a banging came from the door. Being half asleep the whole time, it scared the shit out of me. I turned to my right. 5:14 a.m. Heads were going to roll. I dragged myself out of bed and very slowly opened the door. It was the police officer that drove us here. He had a look of panic on his face. He said my son was missing. Nothing clicked. It took me a minute to wake up and grasp reality again. My son's body was missing, snatched right from the hospital. But this time I knew where he was. I had to get back to the forest. I had to find the remains of my suit. It was the only way to stop the Slenderman. But I knew it wasn't going to be easy. I had asked the police officer if he could drive me back to my house, as I had forgotten something. He pondered a moment and obliged. This time I had been allowed to sit in the passenger seat. The ride there was quiet. I tried to get some sleep. He didn't start any conversation. When we got there, I was careful to make sure no one else saw me. I entered the house through the front door and quickly escaped out the back and headed for the forest. It was still very dark out, so traversing the heavily wooded area was not easy. The only light that came through was that of the moon. So I walked almost blind, hoping to find some scrap of my suit. It seemed to be impossible until, amidst the darkness, I saw a scrap of paper. The white of it stood out like a sore thumb. I leaned down and picked it up and turned it around.
To
What I
what
saw
egg collected.
completely, what I saw completely horrified. It was another drawing by my son, with both him and the Slenderman. This one was different. There were 3 people. A boy the same height as him, and an older look, and another boy as big as the girl. And it dawned on me. It was us, my family. My son drew us with the Slenderman. Then I saw a beam of light, and it was the police officer. Ran up to him and showed him the picture. I explained that my family was in great danger. All he told me was that there was nothing he could do. He said we should go back to the car and back to the hotel. A million thoughts ran through my head. Should I concede? Should I resist? What I did next is peanuts compared to what was about to unfold. But I didn't know. Looking back, I didn't want to. I gave in to the police officer's request and began to head back to the car. While he had his back towards me, I picked up a stone and brought it down upon his head. Why? Anyway.
Yeah,
He
assaulting a
staggered.
police officer. Woo!
Yeah, you're...
What is it with the
You just...
student picking up like bricks and rocks instead of an actual weapon? Like the police officer's handgun is right there.
This guy was here to help you. Oh my
True.
god.
And it's going
He
to make
staggered.
it's going to be even dumber when you read a bit further down the story.
Mm-hmm. He staggered a bit and fell to the ground. I took the car keys off him and ran towards the car.
Take the gun!
It was still dark. I needed to get back to the hotel.
Wait, hold up. So
Oh my god.
the officer said, "Yeah, I don't know what we can
my
do
God.
here. Let's just head back to the hotel." And then he picks up a brick, bashes the police officer, and then starts driving to the hotel.
Yeah.
Okay.
Why?
I don't know.
I screeched to an immediate halt. Parking lot, ran towards the door where we were staying. I swung open the door and to behold the one thing I was trying to prevent. Amidst all the blood that painted the... Oh my goodness. Amidst all the blood that painted the room were 3 bodies making a circle around the Slenderman. He turned to look at me. His hollow, non-existent eyes stared deep into me. Emotions I had never felt before. Emotions without names. Filled my brain and body. It was like he was making me feel everything I ever had. And with an outstretched hand, he said only one thing. One thing that would be burned in the back of my mind forever. Sirens came from behind me. I turned around to see the police cruiser pull into the parking lot and watched them get out, using car doors as shields with their guns aimed at me. Whoa. Where is he?
In the hotel room.
Yeah, but how are they pointing guns?
So the way that I see it, it's kind of like you know those motels where the door into the room connects directly outside. So he like kicked in the door, and then they all pulled up and they're like, "Freeze, dirtbag! Get on the ground!"
Yeah. Well, he killed an officer.
I don't think
Probably.
he killed the officer.
I don't
He
think
definitely assaulted an officer, but I don't think he killed him.
Yeah. Hey, let's get back to the hotel. No.
I'm going back to the hotel.
I'm going back to the hotel. You stay here.
Using car doors as shields with their guns aimed at me, I raised my hands above my head. I slowly looked behind myself to see the Slenderman fade to nothing, leaving only a tattered suit in a heap on the floor. He killed my family. My life would never be the same. And yet, something told me I was never going to see him again. I would never be able to exact revenge, even if I figured out how to. Everything up until the white padded walls isn't exactly clear to me. I've been told that after they saw me at the hotel with my DNA on the suit, I was made primary culprit. Then, after they arrested me and subjected me to frivolous testing, from which they got nothing more than unintelligible noises, I was submitted to this place. White padded walls, same white padded walls I see all day, every day. No one will know what happened to me and my family. The emotions that were broadcast to me caused me to lose my ability of speech. Now all I can do is write and draw. Write out the emotions that the Slender Man felt. I draw the things he has seen. And they are what keep me here. I'm a victim of another man's emotions. Sometimes I feel like I have become him, like we were the same being. That day I learned something. We were slender.
And that was Tall, Thin, and Faceless. It as long as we ignore that one little plot hole of, hey, we should probably get back to the hotel. I'm going back to the hotel. I really enjoyed this story.
It was good.
And there are hundreds of Slenderman stories. And I feel like this one is particularly fun because too heavy-handed with they don't go too heavy-handed with explaining Slenderman. The
No.
most they go to explain it is they connect Slenderman to the suit. And
Mhm.
that's about all the explanation we get. Anything about his origins, where he came from, any of that stuff is left up to the air. His motivations are unknown.
Mm-hmm.
He only says 2 words, which surprised me a little bit because I don't think if the Slender Man does talk, he doesn't talk a lot. So I guess that's connected.
Yeah.
Uh, Overall, I feel like this story understands how Slenderman should be used very simply.
Mm-hmm.
With Marble Hornets, going back to that real quick, they also use the operator very sparingly. All the events
Mm-hmm.
and all the decisions the characters make surround trying to figure out what the operator is, but you don't really get too much information on him, which I think is with most horror, especially supernatural horror, and how little people know about the supernatural. I feel like not explaining too much is very good for a story.
Mm-hmm.
The rules are firmly established. He shows up in the dreams, he kills people, and he summons drawings and all that stuff, and he's vaguely connected to the suit for whatever reason. So there are still rules that you can kind of connect with this interpretation of Slenderman, but
Mm-hmm.
they also don't explain themselves, which
Yeah.
I think helps add to sort of the horror of the story.
I enjoyed it. There's just a couple that big, really, really big plot hole. Because honestly, that guy probably would not
I
have been in the padded room if he was like, if he told the officer, "Hey, we need to step it up. We need to step it up. We need to
We need to get
get
back to the
there
house
now."
ASAP, and then they show back up to the house, and the police officer also sees the Slender Man and is like, "Egads, governor," and tells everybody else,
Well,
"Yeah, this man's innocent. I don't know what the fuck was inside that room, but it sure as hell wasn't him."
yeah, but the officer would have been able to say, if he did not at least see the Slenderman, the officer would have been able to say, "Hey, I had him here with me. He
I
got
was
a
with
bad
him
feeling."
from the house to the hotel room. He did not kill his family here.
Yeah. So he just ruined all of his chances to be.
Innocent.
Yeah.
I guess he might have been worried that they were going to take him to jail because he did technically sneak away from the officer. Because it says that he went in the front door and then out the back door to the forest. So it might have looked like he was trying to run away. I guess that doesn't make sense because he then ran up to the officer and tried to explain the situation that was going on. And then the officers said, best we can do is just head back to the hotel.
Which is like what he wanted.
Yeah.
But instead, he now is like.
Now he's in
Now
the
is
crazy
suspect.
person
He's
prison.
suspect number one.
Yeah.
As soon as he does that, the officer was like, "Oh shit, that's suspect number one."
So maybe. And I like this story, so I'm going to try to play devil's advocate here.
Mm. I enjoy it. I'm not saying I
Mm-hmm.
don't. Just that one plot hole.
To try to explain the plot hole, I guess is what I mean.
Ooh,
A lot
yeah.
of what Slenderman does is drive people crazy and mad. So maybe
Hmm.
Slenderman preyed upon this guy's paranoia and fear and caused him to make irrational decisions in order to be able to try to do the good that he thought he was doing.
Mm-hmm.
So with this interpretation of Slenderman though, one difference that I see compared to a lot of other interpretations. When hold on, when did this story get posted onto
September 4th, 2010.
2010?
Mm-hmm.
So this when was the Victor Surge? When did Victor Surge post Slenderman? So Victor Surge's first image of Slenderman, which is the one of the girl climbing up the slide and he's just standing in the background,
Mm-hmm.
was posted June 10th, 2009. So this is about a year after. It was about a year after the original image of Slenderman came out. So. And Marble Hornets came about a week or two after the original Slenderman image started popping up,
Mm-hmm.
which I think is crazy turnaround time to be able to make a video production of a creepypasta character. Anyway, this might have been early enough to where it wasn't exactly all the current rules and understanding of Slenderman weren't established. Because in
Mm-hmm.
this story, Slenderman didn't try to make any proxies. He just killed everyone. Normally, Slenderman would try to drive a person crazy enough to turn into a proxy and then be one of his henchmen.
Yeah.
And I think I like it a little bit more if. At, so with the proxies, I think it is an interesting concept because it shows that Slenderman has more motivations beyond just trying to kill everyone. It has a plan. Nobody knows what the plan is, and everybody's a chess piece moving on in Slenderman's game. You know.
Yeah.
So with it just being an entity that kills everyone, I don't say I hate it because sometimes it's as simple as just Slenderman kills everyone. But I think the proxy, I don't. Well, I'm torn. Sometimes I think there has to be a specific way that the proxies have to be utilized in order for me to find them compelling. That is how I'm going to word that.
Mm-hmm.
Because there there are plenty of proxies that I think don't work because they just aren't handled the best, and then there are other proxies. They're not really proxies, but in Marble Hornets, there are characters that you can kind of connect as to acting under the motivations of the operator. And I think the way that those guys are handled are done really well as compared to some of the stuff that comes out later that I don't think is as handled very well.
Yeah.
And I'm going to bring it up because it is a part of both Slenderman's history and creepypasta history overall, but I feel like we should at least bring up the Slenderman stabbing.
Yes.
So
Yes, that is.
what do you know about this? I don't know if
I
you've read through the document. I just
so
have the Wikipedia pulled up because I'm.
I know that it was three girls,
Mhm.
right? Around the ages of 11, 12. I know they pulled another, two girls pulled another aside on a playground and like stabbed her
Mhm.
like a profuse amount of times.
19 times.
Yeah, 19, I was thinking 17, so I was too far off.
So yeah, three
And
girls.
they said that Slenderman told them to do it.
So from what I understand with the case, and I haven't done too much research. I've done enough research to get the Spark Notes understanding of what happened.
Mm-hmm.
But during a game of hide and seek, I believe in the woods of Waukesha, Wisconsin, three girls played a game of hide and seek, and then uh, two of the girls had a plan to sacrifice their one friend their friend, and I'm only going to say the name of the friend because I don't want to give the two girls any credit. But Peyton Leutner, I believe is how you pronounce that, was taken to a wooded area of their local park and stabbed 19 times. And the reason why they did that was to sacrifice her to Slenderman so that way they could become proxies to the Slenderman. And they tried to they were found in like a rest stop or something
Mm-hmm.
about 50 miles away because they were trying to drive to the location that's described in most stories about where Slenderman's mansion is, because he has a mansion as well. And
Wow.
I think probably the most interesting part of this is just how much of a badass that Peyton was, because she got stabbed 19 times and then not only survived that, crawled all the way from the wooded area that she was in to a bike path to get the attention of whoever. I think it was just some random cyclist that was riding around that night
Mm-hmm.
and survived, which I think is absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
And
Oh God, yeah.
props to the strength of her because that is just an absolutely brutal thing to have happen to you, and to not only survive it and then have the assailants caught bas- basically immediately. I think the turnaround was like 48 hours. I'm not sure.
Yeah, she's still alive.
Yeah. Well, if she survives, she's obviously still alive. But
Well, no, I know. I'm.
and then just looking across the Wikipedia, it looks like one of the girls was sentenced to 25 years, up to life, and then the other girl was given 40 years.
The first one was charged with attempted degree homicide, class A felony, and second degree homicide, a class B felony. Oh, oh, they were tried as adults, so they were waived out of juvenile court, tried as adults. Um, One of them pled guilty to being a party. The jury then found her not guilty by mental disease or defect. The other one accepted a plea offer. She would not undergo a trial if she pleaded guilty and agreed to further value psychiatry to determine appropriate duration for commitment to a forensic psychiatric hospital. Um, Second one was sentenced to 25 years. The other one, 25 years to life, and then a maximum sentence of 40 years to life, requiring at least 3 years confinement in additional involuntary treatment in a state forensic psychiatric institute until complete resolution of symptoms or until age 53, whichever happens first. Damn.
It it is an absolutely insane case, honestly.
Again, I'm always like, oh, people chances, but they got this one. Like that was crazy. Like that's just crazy thing to do.
It definitely sparked more of a conversation about parents keeping track of what their kids see on the internet, which I feel like should also apply a little bit more today as well, because kid parents should absolutely keep track of what their kids are seeing on the internet. At least to a certain extent. Once you're an adult, I feel like it's a little weird to have your parents keep checking
Mhm.
your phone and stuff. But
Oh, um,
but parents should absolutely keep
she
track of their kids.
she is one of them is released,
Okay.
but required that she be assigned to the Wisconsin Department of Health Services case managers to supervise her progress until she is 37 years old, or the length of her commitment.
Hmm.
and part of what happened, part of why the second one was released is because the victim no longer lives there,
The victim was no longer what?
living in
In Waukesha?
Waukesha.
Okay.
Yeah, they're no longer living in Waukesha County and attending undisclosed college as a sophomore student. This was in 2021.
Okay. Well,
Um,
that's good that she was able to continue on with her life. I'm
yeah, yeah.
certain it's kind of hard to continue on with their life when every true crime YouTuber and dipshit with a podcast decides to
Knows
talk
your
about
name.
it
Yeah.
a after a decade of this being kind of a past event.
I mean, shit, look at us.
Yeah, that's why I said dipshit with a podcast. And I'm very happy that she both survived, thrived, and is now just continuing on with her life. I'm very happy about that.
Mm. Very, very good for her. Takes a lot of willpower to so.
And I wouldn't like obviously I've had friends betray me, but I've never had a friend try to kill me before. I
Uh,
certainly would not know how to trust a person if they tried to kill me.
yeah, especially when you're like what, 7, 9,
I
12?
don't so they were it looks like all of them were born around 2001, 2002 and so 12, yeah, cuz this took place in 2014. Absolutely in I feel like we should stop dwelling on this situation,
Well, it's
but
yeah, but like it's wild.
it
I
is a
cannot.
very major event both in Slenderman's history and creepypasta history overall. Just
Well,
people getting so
cause
wrapped
then,
up into a they're just getting so wrapped up into the lore of this story that they truly believed it.
actually, I've got a story that goes with this.
Oh no, this is terrifying. You
Um,
didn't try to stab someone, right?
no, 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 no,
Okay.
no, no. Cause I remember this Slenderman is craze,
Mhm.
right? And it was only like I really just remember it vividly being Slenderman that was talked about the most. I know other like Jeff the Killer real.
Did you watch those
I
YouTube videos where it's like Slenderman caught on tape, not clickbait, and it had like a
a
red
red
circle
circle.
pointing at a picture of Slenderman?
Yes, I also love going to talk where they're talking about and they're like back in my day we had a red circle because nobody gives context
So
anyway.
go ahead.
I remember this craze, and I remember it stopping one day, and
It's like that killer clown thing that happened. You remember
yeah,
that when everyone was freaking out about killer clowns, and then one day we all just stopped caring about it?
yeah, yeah. It just and well now Slenderman craze stopped for a very good reason, and that's because people were starting to kill each other over it. Um,
Wait,
but
were there more killings around Slenderman, or
I don't think there were. But there was probably some underground shadow government killing, like, "Whoa, we must sacrifice." Man,
I don't think it was a
um,
shadow government. If it there were just it might have been a bunch of very
dipshits.
mentally ill fans of Slenderman, but I don't think it was a shadow government,
I know. I just said shadow government in the sense of
like a
things
secret
we don't
society.
know. Like we don't know about it.
It's a conspiracy,
If
boys.
oh no,
The
conspiracy
Slender
podcast.
conspiracy.
But anyway, I remember this, and I actually remember my father coming up to me, and I'm sitting on my iPad watching Markiplier do surgery on an alien, and he goes, "Son, do you know who Slenderman is?" I'm like, "This Markiplier guy's funny as fuck." No, yeah, I do know what Slenderman is. We kind of had a conversation about it. He goes, "You think he's?" I mean,
I
this
had
is
a
pretty.
conversation about that with my mom too.
But my dad was like, "Do you think he's real?" I'm like, "Well, Dad, I had some pretty good evidence on YouTube to suggest that he is real, uh, but I have not been moved or proved in the physical form to see if he is real or not." So, Father,
Why do you talk like young Sheldon as a kid?
I I didn't actually. I just said, "Well, there's some videos that
suggest that he may be real.
No, go back to the other voice. That one's funnier.
Well, father,
Well,
uh,
father.
well, father, I have not seen any physical
The evidence
evidence.
speaks for itself, father. And you just like
But
hold
the
up your
evidence.
iPad.
I just hold up my iPad and it's like the red circle. It's like, look, see, that's Slenderman right there. Like that's Slenderman, and that's a real person. So this is a real photo. Photoshop exists
um,
on. Well, you see, if Photoshop existed, I would know because I'm a Photoshop expert, and because clearly
exploit.
there's a red circle. There's a red circle right there.
You
Means
see,
he's real.
it's pointed out right here, father.
You see, father, the
So
evidence is right there.
I
Do you want
remember
another
having a
picture?
conversation like that with my mom too. And I never thought Slenderman was real. I kind of always knew he was made up. Um,
Okay,
but
I should say I did not think Slenderman was
I
real.
wasn't
I
I
was
wasn't
just
trying to
like,
imply that you did. I was just saying like I always kind of knew he was made up.
mm,
But
but
do you want to know a character that for a couple months I did think was real?
who?
The Rake, cuz I was in elementary school and these two friends that I'm no longer associated with and I didn't really associate too closely after elementary school cuz they kind of sucked. They decided to scare me by talking about the Rake and they're like, "Oh yeah, it's this gray-skinned man with really long claws that hides at the foot of your bed." So for a couple months, I was terrified at looking at the end of my bed because I thought, what if the Rake is there? Which,
What is the red?
so, fun fact about the Rake, it is very similar to the Slender Man, where it was 100% made up on the internet. I would.
You cut.
I what?
Go ahead. Nope. Go ahead. Never mind. I thought
I
you cut out. You just paused.
I believe that the Rake was created. I want to say 4chan, but I'm not. Hold on. Pull up Google. It was a collaborative. Yes, it was 4chan. I was right. It was a collaborative project with a thread that was basically let's make a monster. And the original design of the Rake was a hairless 6 foot tall man, usually hunched over, with no apparent mouth until it actually opens its mouth. And it has 3 green eyes. And that was the Rake. Nothing about it having long claws, nothing about it hiding at the foot of your bed. It's just
Mm-hmm.
this three-eyed alien monster thing. And then
Yeah.
people took that idea and worked with it, and over time they developed it more and more and more into this black-eyed, gray-skinned, long-taloned creature. And I don't think anyone really can find. There have been videos where they've tried to trace a solid timeline as to where they went from the three-eyed alien thing to the gray-skinned, long-clawed thing. And
Yeah.
Uh, there's this one illustration where I don't know if I can find it, but there's this one illustration of the Rake kind of like hunched over and it's got this claw, like metallic looking claw on the end of its hand.
Mm-hmm.
And people have since adapted it to where it's just its normal hand. And people I think that was kind of the turning point from it going from the alien thing to the grayskin long clawed thing. And then this image, I'm pulling it up right now. This image actually made, I don't want to say national news. It made it onto a few local stations. I forget where, but it was actually on news stations, and it was this image right here. And
Okay.
that was also it's also commonly associated with the Rake. Some people try to say it's from a specific video game, but I'm pretty sure that got debunked. I'm not entirely sure where this image of the Rake originated, but they say it was on a trail camera and this thing was just running around the woods. And part part of the reason why I think the Rake got so popular is a few reasons. One, the design is very striking. Two, it does a similar thing to Slenderman, where it operates off a mission that's kind of its own design and nobody else knows about. So its motives are entirely unknown. And two, with most creepypasta monsters and killers and all that stuff, they're either extremely inner city or extremely deep woods. And I guess Jeff the Killer is more urban, but the Rake was explicitly urban. That was its specific hunting grounds, was like urban areas. Because one of the most common things that it does is it'll sit on the edge of your bed and watch you for whatever reason it has. And going into the Rake creepypasta, let me just double check to see if the author is stated. It does not seem to have a specifically stated author in this one. Anyway, I didn't realize that. So the original creepypasta of the Rake has several different things written in it, so we can just go back and forth and take turns.
Do you want to read this? Because it's an estimated
How long is it?
9 minutes.
9 minutes.
Yeah.
I'd say let's take turns with it. I feel like, because there are some where I feel like that you would have a better accent with it, you know? Because like one of them is it's a mariner's log, so you have to have that sort of British-ish accent.
Yes, quite. I saw a rake last night, and it scared the jits out of me. Musket and my powdered wig.
Put the gun away.
I
Okay.
said blimey, and I shot them things 17 times.
So, alright. So now we are going to get into the story. Shut up.
Sorry, I just saw the first one.
A suicide.
I read the first. Yeah, I'm like, oh.
Okay, so I'm going to go first. And then you can take... Actually, I'll do the first two, and then you can take the mariner's log.
Alright.
And then I'll do the rest of it. Or do you want the two short ones? I'll let you do the two short ones. And then I'll do the two longer ones.
Okay.
So this is us going into the reading of The Rake. A Suicide Note, 1964. As I prepare to take my life, I feel it is necessary to assuage any guilt or pain I have introduced through this act. It is not the fault of anyone other than him. For once I awoke and felt his presence, and once I awoke and saw his form. Once again I awoke and heard his voice, and looked into his eyes. I cannot sleep without fear of what I might next awake to experience. I cannot ever wake. Goodbye. Found in the same wooden box were 2 empty envelopes addressed to William and Rose, and 1 loose personal letter with no envelope. Dearest Linny, I have prayed for you. He has spoke your name.
Wow.
A journal entry translated from Spanish, 1880.
I have experienced the greatest terror. I have experienced the greatest terror. I have experienced the greatest terror. I see his eyes when I close mine. They are hollow. Black. They saw me and pierced me. His wet hand. I will not sleep. His voice. The rest is unintelligible.
A Mariner's Log, 1691.
He came to me in my sleep. From the foot of my bed, I felt a sensation. He took everything. We must return to England. We shall not return here again. At the request of the Rake.
From a Witness, 2006. 3 years ago, I had just returned from a trip from Niagara Falls with my family for the 4th of July. We were all very exhausted after a long day of driving, so my husband and I put the kids right to bed and called it a night. At about 4 a.m., I woke up thinking my husband had gotten up to use the restroom. I used the moment to steal back the sheets, only to wake him in the process. I apologized and told him I thought he got out of bed. When he turned to face me, he gasped and pulled his feet up from the end of the bed, so quickly his knee almost knocked me out of bed. He then grabbed me and said nothing. After adjusting to the dark for half a second, I was able to see what caused the strange reaction. At the foot of the bed, sitting and facing away from us, there was what appeared to be a naked man or a hairless dog of some sort. Its body position was disturbing and unnatural, as if it had been hit by a car or something. For some reason, I was not instantly frightened by it, but more concerned as to its condition. At this point, I was somewhat under the assumption that we were supposed to help him. My husband was peering over his arm and knee, tucked into the fetal position, occasionally glancing at me before returning to the creature. In a flurry of motion, the creature scrambled around the side of the bed, then crawled quickly in a flailing sort of motion right along the bed until it was less than a foot from my husband's face. The creature was completely silent for about 30 seconds. Or probably closer to 5. It just seemed like a while. Just looking at my husband. The creature then placed its hand on his knee and ran into the hallway, leading to my kids' rooms. I screamed and ran for the light switch, planning to stop him before he hurt my children. When I got to the hallway, the light from the bedroom was enough to see it crouching and hunched over about 20 feet away. He turned around and looked directly at me, covered in blood. I flipped the switch on the wall and saw my daughter Clara. The creature ran down the stairs while my husband and I rushed to help our daughter. She was very badly injured and spoke only once. More in her short life, she said,
He is the Rake.
My husband drove his car into a lake that night while rushing our daughter to the hospital. He did not survive. Being a small town, news got around pretty quickly. The police were helpful at first, and the local newspaper took a lot of interest as well. However, the story was never published, and the local television news never followed up either. For several months, my son Justin and I stayed in a hotel near my parents' house. After we decided to return home, I began looking for answers myself. I eventually located a man in the next town over who had a similar story. We got in contact and began talking about our experiences. He knew of 2 other people in New York who had seen the creature we now referred to as the Rake. It took the 4 of us about 2 solid years of hunting on the internet and writing letters to come up with a small collection of what we believed to be accounts of the Rake. None of them gave any details, history, or follow-up. One journal had an entry involving the creature in its first 3 pages, and never mentioned it again. A ship's log explained nothing of the encounter, saying only that they were told to leave by the Rake. That was the last entry in the log. There were, however, many instances where the creature's visit was one of a series of visits with the same person. Multiple people also mentioned being spoken to, my daughter included. This led us to wonder if the Rake had visited any of us before our last encounter. I set up a digital recorder near my bed and left it running all night, every night, for 2 weeks. I would tediously scan through the sounds of me rolling around in my bed each day when I woke up. By the end of the 2nd week, I was quite used to the occasional sound of sleep while blurring through the recording at 8 times the normal speed. This still took almost an hour every day. On the first day of the 3rd week, I thought I heard something different. What I found was a shrill voice. It was the Rake. I can't listen to it long enough to even begin to transcribe it. I haven't let anyone listen to it yet. All I know is that I've heard it before. and I now believe that it spoke when it was sitting in front of my husband. I don't remember hearing anything at the time, but for some reason, the voice on the recorder immediately brings me back to that moment. The thoughts that must have gone through my daughter's head make me very upset. I have not seen the rake since he ruined my life, but I know that he has been in my room while I slept. I know and fear that one night I'll wake up to see him staring at me. Oh, there is a credit to the story of the rake. The credit is to Brian Somerville.
I like that one. It was
I
short.
It was short, sweet, but I really like the idea of multiple perspectives trying to talk about the same entity and their own I think that is kind of a fun thing because it also brings up the idea of the creature is very old
Yeah.
and a lot
Is
of people
sentient.
it is it's sentient, it's intelligent, it's very old. A lot of the comparisons people make about the rake is similar to the boogeyman or a sleep paralysis demon, where when you wake up and you see it at the edge of your bed, you are just paralyzed into silence
Yeah.
by the creature. So that way
Yeah.
it can terrify you and use that fear for its own motivations, whether or not that's to feed or just scare you for the fun of it. It's almost sadistic in the nature of it hunting its victims by simply just scaring them in their bed.
Something I also found interesting about this is the way that she recognized the voice instantly, even though she didn't hear it.
Yeah, that it's her first time hearing the voice and she recognizes it instantly, as if it has spent many nights without them waking up just whispering to them about whatever it whispers.
Yeah.
It's almost got like a it's like subconsciously communicating with you. I think
Mm.
I think the rake is a very fun creature. It it's a blank slate essentially. You can do pretty much whatever with the rake and it'll make sense to the as long as you get the gist of the rake, where it's a hairless figure that hunts in urban areas and watches people sleep at night. Pretty much
Hmm.
any other creative interpretation that you give along with that essential gist would make for really fun stories. And apparently there
Yeah, and
is
it's
a movie based on the rake, although I have never seen it before.
I have never heard of that before. I've heard of the Slenderman movie. I heard that there was
Hmm.
a Russian sleep experiment movie, but I never heard of.
Well, I told you about the sleep experiment movie.
Well, I heard of it before, once or twice.
Oh, it has two out of 5 stars on IMDb. It has a
Mm.
3.6 out of 10.
Great,
So I'm guessing this is not a good movie.
amazing quality movie.
But yeah, the you can do a lot of really fun stuff with the rake.
Yeah,
Personally, I would love to try to take a crack at writing a story about the rake. I think that would be really fun. I think
I
I've made the attempt once or twice, but it didn't really go anywhere, so I might sit down and try to do a more serious attempt at it. When that happens, if people are interested, now keep in mind this is probably never going to happen, but if it does, we'll read it on the channel. And then you guys can make fun of me for how bad my writing is.
I can.
Announcer can. People in the comments might make fun of me too, just regardless.
How'd you like the writing? It was
Shit. Sucks. This is stupid.
So, yeah, the Rake, nice, short, sweet little story. I really enjoyed it. There are other stories that put more detail and effort and more of a story into the idea of the Rake. But this is the creepypasta that is commonly associated with the Rake. There's this one story called Sacrifice, and that one's also about the Rake. And I was almost tempted to do that one in place of the Rake, simply just because I like the little character arc of that story more. But this is the most common one that people associate with, so this is the one that I'm going to do. We might do Sacrifice later on, but as of this recording, this is the Rake story. Now, we are at the moment when we talk about Jeff the Killer. What do you know about Jeff the Killer?
Nothing. I
Nothing?
just know this stupid fucking picture about him. Sorry for the swearing, but like,
We've been swearing this whole time. You're fine.
have we? I forgot.
We have. So
I just know this stupid picture of him that every once in a while, it startles me enough, and then I get mad because I'm like, it's Jeff the Killer. It just makes me mad.
So about the picture, nobody knows where that picture originated. Some people tried to say that it was this picture of this one girl who ended up taking her own life because she posted the picture on the internet, and the internet does what it does best, and kept editing the photo to be more and more creepy and uncanny and bully her about it, and then she took her life. I believe that has been debunked a few times. So overall, nobody really knows where the picture came from, just that the picture exists. And this writing of Jeff the Killer is basically doing its best to try to explain. The picture came first, and then the story came after, trying to get to the point of where that picture would have been taken. There is a older version of this story on YouTube that claims to be the original story. This one is just the most commonly associated one with the story, though, and this is going to be the one we are going to read. And yeah, I don't know if there's too much to talk about with this one. We'll probably have a lot to say when we actually sit down and read the story, but as of the moment, this is going to be us reading Jeff the Killer. Are you excited, announcer?
No. Am I gonna read it?
Uh,
Should I start it?
well, there is some dialogue in this, so do you want to do the voices, or I genuinely don't know if this one's going to actually get an edited version of the story, just because I don't know how well we'll be able to
Wait. I don't
take this seriously.
There's so much. So it goes into a brief little
So you have to scroll a little ways down. It'll have this subtitle that says Jeff the Killer creepypasta story, and then all of this is like set dressing. Although,
okay.
fun fact about the Jeff the Killer story, it originally was taken off a bunch of creepypasta sites due to how bad it was, due to two reasons. One of them being how bad it was, because this story is bad. We're just going to be upfront about that. The other thing about it is, even though it was bad, it became ridiculously popular. And everybody kept making their like own little, the insert name the killer OC. So Jane the Killer, I think there's like a Mary the Killer. There were a bunch of insert name the killer stories. And stuff like Clockwork or Tiki Toby, I feel like also were similar to like their own version of Jeff the Killer, you know. But and take the Clockwork and Tiki Toby were Jeff the Killer OCs. I'm not entirely certain about that. I can see how people like if you've ever read the stories, which I know you haven't, so eventually we're going to have to sit down and read those. But you can kind of understand why people would associate them with Jeff the Killer, because their stories are pretty similar.
Yeah.
However, there were so many Jeff the Killer variant OCs that kept popping onto creepypasta sites. There were several rules made where it's like, if you write a story about a person, insert person's name, the killer, you're getting banned.
Damn.
Just
because
straight up went, get out.
apparently Jeff the Killer was that popular, and I don't know. He was very popular for some reason. I got no clue.
Yeah.
So who who wants who should read it?
I'll read.
Do you want to do a
I'll
coin
read.
flip or okay?
No, no,
So
no, no, no. I got this. I got this.
so I'll do the voices
You
then.
do the dialogue. All right, you ready?
As ready as I'm going to get.
Excerpt from a local newspaper. Anonymous unknown killer still at large. After weeks of unexplained murders, the anonymous unknown killer is still on the rise. After little evidence has been found, a young boy states that he survived one of the killer's attacks and bravely tells his story.
I had a bad dream and I woke up in the middle of the night.
Says the boy.
I saw that for some reason the window was open, even though I remember it being closed before I went to bed. I got up and shut it once more. Afterwards, I simply crawled under my covers and tried to get back to sleep. That's when I had a strange feeling, like someone was watching me. I looked up and nearly jumped out of my bed. There, in the little ray of light illuminating from between my curtains, were a pair of two eyes. These
Hold
were.
on. Hold on.
Yeah.
This is a kid?
Yep, it's a kid.
What is this, young fucking Sheldon?
Jeff the Killer
You see,
tries to
Father.
kill
You see,
young
Father.
Sheldon.
You see, Father, I think Slenderman is real. Anyway,
Go back to reading. Go back to reading this month's
The
message.
young Sheldon reference not coming up once but twice. Ayo.
not once, but twice.
Illuminating from between my curtains were a pair of two eyes. These weren't regular eyes, they were dark, ominous eyes. They were bordered in black and just plain out terrified me. That's when I saw his mouth. A long, horrendous smile that made every hair on my body stand up. The figure stood there watching me. Finally, after what seemed like forever, he said a simple phrase, but said in a way only a madman could speak. He said, "Go to sleep." I let out a scream. we gotta get through this, man. We gotta get through this. I let out a scream. That's what sent him at me. He pulled up a knife, aiming at my heart. He jumped on top of my bed. I fought him back. I kicked, I punched, I rolled around, trying to knock him off me. That's when my dad busted in. The man threw the knife and it went into my dad's shoulder. The man probably would have finished him off if one of my neighbors hadn't alerted the police. How? What?
I don't, just...
They drove into the parking lot and ran towards the door. The man turned and ran down the hallway. I heard a smash like glass breaking. As I came out of my room, I saw the window that was pointing towards the back of my house was broken. I looked out to see him vanish into the distance. I can tell you one thing. I will never forget that face. Those cold, evil eyes and that psychotic smile. They will never leave my head.
Police are still on the look for this man. If you see anyone that fits this description in this story, please contact your local police department. Jeff and his family had just moved into a new neighborhood. His dad had gotten a promotion at work.
Wait,
and they
hold
thought...
up. So did they just transfer from the news story direct? Okay,
I don't know.
it must have been a news story and now we're getting into like the origins.
No, it looks like... Oh, no. Yeah, this is narrating.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. This is the end of the newspaper and into the Jeff. Alright, anyway. Jeff and his family had just moved into a new neighborhood. His dad had gotten a promotion at work, and they thought it would be best to live in one of those fancy neighborhoods. Jeff and his brother, Lou, Couldn't complain, though. A new, better house. What was not to love? There be. They were. As they were getting unpacked, one of their neighbors came by.
Hello,
She said.
I'm Barbara. I live across the street from you. Well, I just wanted to introduce myself and to introduce my son.
She turns around and calls her son over.
Billy, these are our new neighbors.
Billy said hi and ran back to play in his yard,
Well,
said Jeff's mom.
I'm Margaret, and this is my husband Peter, and my two sons, Jeff and Lou.
They each introduced themselves, and then Barbara invited them over to her son's birthday. Jeff and his brother were about to object when their mother said that they would love to. When Jeff and his family were done packing, Jeff went up to his mom.
Mom, why would you invite us to some kid's party? If you haven't noticed, I'm not some dumb kid. Jeff,
Said his mother.
we just moved here. We should show that we want to spend time with our neighbors. Now, we're going to that party, and that's final.
Jeff started to talk, but stopped himself, knowing that he couldn't do anything. Whenever his mom said something, it was final. He walked up to his room and plopped down on his bed. He sat there, looking at his ceiling, and suddenly he got a weird feeling. Not so much pain, but a weird feeling. He dismissed it as just some random feeling. Are we going to get a description of what this feeling? He heard his mother call him down to get his stuff, and he walked down to get it.
What are you talking about? That was the description of the feeling. He's feeling a
Wow.
feeling.
Wow. The next day, Jeff walked down the stairs to get
How long did it
breakfast
take
and
to
got
walk
ready
down
for
those stairs? Damn!
2 days. Jeff walked down the stairs to get breakfast and got ready for school. As he sat there eating his breakfast, he once again got that feeling. This time it was stronger. It gave him a slight tugging pain. But once again, he dismissed it. As he and Lou finished breakfast, they walked down to the bus stop. They sat there, waiting for the bus, and then all of a sudden, some kid on a skateboard jumped over them, only inches above their laps. They both looked back in surprise.
Hey, what the hell?
The kid landed and turned back to them. He kicked up his skateboard and caught it with his hands. The kid seemed to be about 12, 1 year younger than Jeff. He wears an Aeropostale shirt and ripped blue jeans. Oh my god. Can I read this dialogue? No, you do it. I don't want to torture myself.
You could not describe a more generic 90s bully character if you tried.
Nope. This is it. We've reached peak. We've got this peak, unfortunately.
Absolute cinema, guys. You gotta hand it to them.
Gotta.
Well. It looks... That's what it's reading. That's what it's reading like. Well. Looks like we got some new meat.
Suddenly, 2 other kids appeared. Wow, one was super skinny, and the other was huge.
Well, since you're new here, I'd like to introduce ourselves. Over there is Keith.
Jeff and Lou looked over to the skinny kid. He had a dopey face, one you would expect a sidekick to have.
And he's Troy.
They looked over at the fat kid. Talk about a tub of water. This kid looked like he had... God, leave him alone. This kid looked like he hadn't exercised since he was crawling.
Start from the tub of lard thing again, because you broke so bad.
They looked over at the fat kid. Talk about a tub of lard. This kid looked like he hadn't exercised since he was crawling.
And I
Said the first kid.
am Randy. Now, for all the kids in this neighborhood, there is a small price for bus fare, if you catch my drift.
Lou stood up ready to punch the lights out of the kid's eyes when one of his friends pulled a knife on him.
Tisk, tisk, tisk. I had hoped you would have been more cooperative, but it seems we must do this the hard way.
The kid walked up to Lou and took his wallet out of his pocket. Jeff got that feeling again. Now it was truly strong, a burning sensation. He stood up, but Lou gestured him to sit down. Jeff ignored him and walked up to the kid.
Listen here, you little punk. Give back my bro's wallet, or else.
Randy put the wallet in his pocket and pulled out his own knife.
Oh? And what will you do?
Just as he finished the sentence, Jeff popped the kid in the nose. As Randy reached for his face, Jeff grabbed the kid's wrist and broke it. Randy screamed and Jeff grabbed the knife from his hand. Troy and Keith rushed Jeff, but Jeff was too quick. He threw Randy to the ground. Keith lashed at him, but Jeff ducked, stabbed him in the arm. Keith dropped his knife and fell to the ground screaming. Troy rushed to him too, but Jeff didn't even need the knife. He just punched Troy straight in the stomach and Troy went down. As he fell, he puked all over. Lou could do nothing but look in amazement at Jeff.
Jeff? How'd you...
Was all he said. They saw the bus coming and knew they'd be blamed for the whole thing. So they started running as fast as they could. As they ran, they looked back and saw the bus driver rushing over to Randy and the others. And as Jeff and Lou made it to school, they didn't dare tell what happened. All they did was sit and listen. Lou just thought of that as his brother beating up a few kids. But Jeff knew it was more. It was something scary. As he got the feeling he felt more powerful, it was the urge to just hurt someone. God, please kill me. He didn't like how it sounded, but he couldn't help but feel happy. He felt that strange feeling go away and stay away for the entire day of school. Even as he walked home, due to the whole thing near the bus stop, oh my goodness, and how now he probably wouldn't be taking the bus anymore, he felt happy. When he got home, his parents asked him how his day was, said in a somewhat ominous voice,
It was a wonderful day.
Next morning, he heard a knock on his front door. He walked down to find 2 police officers at the door, his mother looking back at him with an angry look.
Jeff, these officers tell me that you attacked 3 kids, that it wasn't regular fighting, and that they were stabbed. Stabbed, son!
Jeff's gaze fell to the floor, showing his mother that it was true.
Mom, they were the ones who pulled the knives on me and Lou. Son? Oh, that's one of the cops. Son,
said one of the cops.
We found 3 kids, 2 stabbed, 1 having a bruise on his stomach, and we have witnesses proving that you fled the scene. Now, what does that tell us?
Jeff knew it was no use. He could say him and Lou had been attacked, but then there was no proof. It was not them who attacked first. They couldn't say that they weren't fleeing because, truth be told, they were. So, Jeff couldn't defend himself or Lou.
Is that a police officer or the mom saying it?
That's probably the police officer.
Son, call down your brother.
Jeff couldn't do it, since it was he who beat up all the kids.
Sir, it was me. I was the one who beat up the kids. Lou tried to hold me back, but he couldn't stop me.
The cop looked at his partner and they both nod.
Well, kid, looks like a year in juvie. Wait!
Says Lou. They all looked to see him holding a knife. The officer pulled their guns and He's reaching! Can you resume from wait?
Give me a minute.
It reminds me of that meme that I have with the officers. Just when you're doing the editing, can you include that "he's reaching" meme when I do it in the back?
Yeah. All right. I think I know the bit you're about to do, so I'm going to try my hardest to keep calm.
No, no, no. I already did it,
Wait!
says Lou. They all looked up to see him holding a knife. The officers pulled their gun and locked them on Lou.
It was me. I beat up those little punks. Have the marks to prove it.
He lifted up his sleeves to reveal cuts and bruises, as if he was in a struggle.
Son, just put the knife down,
said the officer. Lou held up the knife and dropped it to the ground. He put his hands up and walked over to the cops.
No, Lou, it was me. I did it.
Jeff had tears running down his face.
Huh, poor bro. Trying to take the blame for what I did. Well, take me away.
The police led Lou out to the patrol car.
Lou, tell them it was me. Tell them. I was the one who beat up those kids.
Jeff's mother put her hands on his shoulders.
Jeff, please. You don't have to lie. We know it's Lou. You can stop.
Jeff watched helplessly as the cop car speeds off with Lou inside. A few minutes later, Jeff's dad pulled into the driveway, seeing Jeff's face, knowing something was wrong.
Son? Son, what is it?
Jeff couldn't answer. His vocal cords strained from crying. Instead, Jeff's mother and walked his father inside to break the bad news. Told him as Jeff wept in the driveway. After an hour or so, Jeff walked back into the house, seeing his parents were both shocked, sad, and disappointed. He couldn't look at them. He couldn't see how they thought of Lou when it was his fault. He just went to sleep, trying to get the whole thing off his mind. 2 days went by, with no word from Lou at juvenile detention center. No friends to hang out with, nothing but sadness and guilt. That is, until Saturday, when Jeff is woken up by his mother with a happy, sunshiny face.
Jeff, it's the day,
she said as she opened up the curtains and let light flood into his room.
What's today?
Asked Jeff as he stirs awake.
Why, it's Billy's party.
He was now fully awake.
Mom, you're joking, right? You don't expect me to go to some kid's party after...
There was a long pause.
Jeff, we both know what happened. I think this party could be the thing that brightens up the past days. Now get dressed.
Jeff's mother walked out of the room and downstairs to get ready herself. He fought himself to get up. He picked out a random shirt and a pair of jeans and walked downstairs. He saw his mother and father all dressed up, his mother in a dress and his father in a suit. He thought why they would ever wear such a fancy clothes to a kid's party.
Man. So, keep in mind, it's been, 4 days since they moved into this neighborhood, and they've already injured 3 kids, got taken to prison, and now their mom's just like, let's go to a party, son.
Let's go to a party, son. It'll do so much better for you.
So, I know we had a discussion about the police and Tolfin and
Don't even get me started. Don't. Don't even.
I'm getting you started.
First of all, looks like a year in juvie. You have no right to say that. There needs to be a political. Not a political investigation. Sorry, I forgot.
Political investigation.
There needs to be a investigation of the event. There needs to be a trial.
They did investigate. What are you talking about? They talked to, 4 people.
Oh, yeah, they talked to 2 people that saw it. Great.
Yeah,
First of all, then...
They confirmed they fled the scene.
Jeff honestly admitted to it, and then Lou came down with a knife, and with, various cuts that he probably gave himself, said, it's me, I did it. Lifted up his wrist to show, I don't know, colored pencil, marker of, red and, the drawing of a handprint. Look, he slapped me.
And the officers are like, damn, that seems pretty believable to me. I was just, hey, yeah.
No, they pulled
Why don't
guns
we-
on him.
Oh, yeah, wait. Oh, no, he's got a knife. Like, okay, first of all, no officer in their right mind is going to see a 12-year-old kid and I'm going to gun. If they do that with the kid, even though he has a knife and can damage, if they do that to a kid in front of her mother, in front of the kid's mother, one, the mother's going to be in a lot more hysterics than, Jeff, it's okay.
Jeff,
We all know that Lou did it.
the mom didn't try to fight that at all.
No.
She's just like, yeah, no, makes sense. Lou's the psychopath of the family.
Yeah.
Give me a second.
Of course Lou did that. And then, like, there was no investigation. There was no nothing. They just took him.
Well,
They just straight up
looks
took
like
him.
a year in juvie.
It's always a trope of the cops issue the sentence and everything. It's not. It's not. They just
Hello, ma'am. I am Officer Frank. This is my partner, Officer Frank. Have you seen your
No.
son Have you seen your son Jeff recently?
at the Frank team.
They sent the Frank team to contain Jeff.
But like, again, this is perfect self-defense. Jeff and Lou could have said, "Hey, they were trying to take a knife on me."
They did say that they were attacking them.
Yeah, but Jeff was
well,
like, "It's
looks like it's a year in juvie.
looks like a year in juvie. He's reaching.
He's reaching.
Oh no, gotta reload. I'm out of ammo. You know.
And then to still be like, yeah, let's go to the party. I don't think you're invited to the party anymore. Your son just got arrested because he attacked 3 kids. I don't want you at my kid's party. Also, hold up. I need to talk about the antagonists. Heavy quotes on that. Okay, like I know you can do some pretty cool tricks skateboarding. I do not think you can kickflip over a park bench with 2 people sitting on
with
it.
2 people on it. Yeah.
You can't get enough speed, or you know what? If
I'm sure you could kickflip over it, but you would have to have a ramp or something.
if someone can send us a video and prove that they can do it with 2 people sitting on the bench, we will put it in the next video, or the next video that we're able to edit into it. Like, I want to see proof of this. I want to see proof of this.
But he also said just barely missed lap, like their knee or something like that. So
And he talks like a 1920s gangster. Just like, well, look what we got here, some fresh meat. He's like snapping his finger as they're like bobbing up and down, walking down an alley.
By the way, then they look over to the fat, double-eyed, piece of lard ass, no good.
The narrator's just like, have you ever heard like the 5 stages of fat? Hold on. It's from this comedian Gabriel Iglesias.
Fat, double-eyed, lard ass, pizza, no good.
They're okay.
Smells like grease. Just lives.
The
in
5
mess, just eats all day. You know.
The
like,
5
just
levels
going
of fatness are big, healthy, husky, fluffy, and damn.
Uh-oh. No. Don't woof. Recording a podcast right now. Please don't woof.
And apparently, that one kid is damn.
All 5. It's all 5.
It's all 5. Talk about a tub of lard, am I right?
Talk about a tub of lard.
It's just this
Next
random
time,
like
eat a
dude.
salad.
It's just like the narrator from Twilight Zone, just like standing next to Jeff and is like, "Damn, talk about a tub of lard, am I right, Jeff? I don't know who you are. Why I'm 13. Please leave me alone."
Talk about a fat ass. Am I right? Like this kid. Like if you look
Announcer
up fat,
in the
he's
Jeff the Killer
definition.
story confirmed.
Yeah.
If you look up fat in a dictionary, there's a picture of him that shows up.
So
Like, I half expected Jeff to just turn around to Troy and be like, "You're fat," and then Troy to just go home with like emotional damage. Be like,
Just runaway cry. Just
I'm not fat.
I'm not fat, guys. You gotta believe me. Alright,
I'm just
so
big bone. Anyway,
he just came downstairs. He's wearing a t-shirt and jeans. And his
uh,
mom and dad are in a suit and fancy dress.
and then you read the dialogue.
Son, is that all you're going to wear?
Said Jeff's mom.
Better than wearing too much.
He said. His mother pushed down the feeling to yell at him and hit it with a smile.
Now, Jeff, we may be overdressed, but this is how you go if you want to make an impression. Oh, that's his father.
His father's apparently a woman now.
No, I'm going to reread that. Now, Jeff, we may be overdressed, but this is how you go if you want to make an impression.
Said his father. Jeff grunted and went back to his room.
I don't have any fancy clothes.
He yelled downstairs.
Just pick out something.
His mother called. He looked around in his closet for what he could call fancy. He found a pair of black dress pants he had for special occasions and an undershirt. He couldn't find a shirt to go with it, though. He looked around and finally found only striped and patterned shirts, none of which would go with dress pants. Finally found a white hoodie and put it on.
You're wearing that?
They both said. His mother looked at her watch.
Oh, no time to change. Let's just go.
She said as she herded Jeff and his father out the door. They crossed the street over to Barbara and Billy's house. What do you mean no time? You're right across the street. Anyway, they crossed the street over to Barbara and Billy's house. They knocked on the door, and it appeared that Barbara, just like his parents, way overdressed. As they walked inside, all Jeff could see were adults, no kids.
The kids are out in the yard. Jeff, how about you go and meet some of them?
Said Barbara. Jeff walked outside to a yard full of kids. They were running around in weird cowboy costumes and shooting each other with plastic guns. He might as well be standing in a Toys R Us. Suddenly a kid came up to him and handed him a toy gun and a hat.
Hey, wanna play?
He said.
No, kid. I'm way too old for this stuff. You're 13.
The kid looked at him with that weird puppy dog face.
Please.
Said the kid.
Fine.
Said Jeff. He put on the hat and started to pretend to shoot at the kids. At first he thought it was totally ridiculous, but then he started to actually have fun. It might not have been super cool, but it was the first time he had done something that took his mind off of Lou. So he played with the kids for a while until he heard a noise. A weird rolling noise. Then it hit him. Randy, Troy, and Keith all jumped over the fence on their skateboards. Jeff dropped the fake gun and ripped off the hat. Randy looked at Jeff with burning hatred.
Hello, Jeff, is it?
He said.
We have some unfinished business.
Business. Jeff saw his bruised nose.
I think we're even. I beat the crap out of you, and you got my brother sent to JDC.
Randy got an angry look in his eyes.
Oh, no. I don't go for even. I go for winning. You may have kicked our asses that one day, but not today.
As he said that, Randy rushed at Jeff. They both fell onto the ground. Randy punched Jeff in the nose, and Jeff grabbed him by the ears and headbutted him. Jeff pushed Randy off. Both rose to their feet. Kids were screaming and parents were running out of the house. Troy and Keith pulled guns out of their pockets. Can you read this dialogue here, please? If you will.
No one interrupts or guts will fly.
They said. Randy pulled a knife on Jeff and stabbed it into his shoulder. Jeff screamed and fell to his knees. Randy started kicking him in the face. After 3 kicks, Jeff grabbed his foot and twisted it, causing Randy to fall to the ground. Jeff stood up and walked towards the back door. Troy grabbed him.
Need some help?
He picks Jeff up by the back of the collar and throws him through the patio door. As Jeff tries to stand, he is kicked down to the ground. Randy repeatedly starts kicking Jeff until he starts coughing blood.
Come on, Jeff! Fight me!
He picks Jeff up and throws him into the kitchen. Randy sees a bottle of vodka on the counter and smashes the glass over Jeff's head.
Fight!
He throws Jeff back into the living room.
Come on, Jeff. Look at me.
Jeff glances up, his face riddled with blood.
I was the one who got your brother sent to JDC, and now you're just gonna sit here and let him rot in there for a whole year? You should be ashamed.
Jeff starts to get up.
Oh, finally, you stand and fight.
Jeff is now to his feet, blood and vodka on his face. Once again, he gets that strange feeling, the one in which he hasn't felt for a while.
Finally, he's up,
says Randy as he runs at Jeff. That's when it happens. Something inside Jeff snaps. His psyche is destroyed. All rational thinking is gone, and all he can do is kill. He grabs Randy and pile drives him into the ground, gets on top of him and punches him straight in the heart. The punch causes Randy's heart to stop. As Randy grasps for breath, Jeff hammers down on him. Punch after punch, blood gushes from Randy's body until he takes one final breath and dies. I thought he already died. Everyone is looking at Jeff now. The parents, the crying kids, even Troy and Keith, although they easily break from their gaze and point their guns at Jeff. Jeff sees the guns trained on him and runs for the stairs. As he runs, Troy and Keith let out fire on him, each shot missing. Jeff runs up the stairs. He hears Troy and Keith follow behind them as they let out their final rounds of bullets. Jeff ducks into the bathroom. He grabs the towel rack and rips it off. Troy and Keith race in, knives ready. Troy swings his knife at Jeff, who backs away and bangs the towel rack into Troy's face. Troy's goes down hard. Now all that's left is Keith. He's more agile than Troy, though, and ducks when Jeff swings the towel rack. He dropped the knife and grabbed Jeff by the neck and pushed him into the wall. A thing of bleach fell down on top of him from the top shelf. It burnt both of them, and they both started to scream. Jeff wiped his eyes as best as he could. He pulled back the towel rack and swung it straight into Keith's head. As he lay there bleeding to death, he let out an ominous smile.
What's so funny?
Asked Jeff. Keith pulled out a lighter and switched it on.
What's funny?
He said.
Is that you're covered in bleach and alcohol.
Jeff's eyes widened as Keith threw the lighter at him. As soon as the flame made contact with the flames ignited the alcohol in the vodka. While the alcohol burned him, the bleach bleached his skin. Jeff let out a terrible screech as he caught on fire and tried to roll out the fire, but it was no use. The alcohol had made him a walking inferno. He ran down the hall and fell down the stairs. Everybody started screaming as they saw Jeff, now a man on fire, dropped to the ground nearly dead. The last thing Jeff saw was his mother and other parents trying to extinguish the flame. That's when he passed out. When
Okay.
Jeff woke...
Okay, hold on.
Why aren't the parents doing anything?
The parents were literally just standing... Well, because the kids had guns.
They missed every fucking shot.
Okay.
I don't know. Let's just get through it.
This is bad. Hold on, I'm gonna grab... No food yet.
So... And then he punched Randy to death.
In the heart.
One punch.
And
Yeah.
He literally just one-punched him.
Okay. Okay. We're fine. This is fine.
No, it's not. This
Just
is
keep
not
reading.
fine. There's
Just
nothing fine about this. When Jeff woke, he had a cast wrapped around his face. He couldn't see anything, but he felt a cast on his shoulder and the stitches all over his body. He tried to stand up, but realized there was some tube in his arm. When he tried to get up, fell out, and a nurse rushed in.
I don't think you can get out of bed just yet.
She said as she put him back in his bed and reinserted the tube. Jeff sat there with no vision, no idea of what his surroundings were. Finally, after hours, he heard his mother.
Honey, are you okay?
She asked. Jeff couldn't answer, though. His face was covered. He was unable to speak.
Oh, honey, I have great news. After all the witnesses told the police that Randy confessed of trying to attack you, they decided to let Lou go.
This made Jeff almost bolt up, stopping halfway, remembering the tube coming out of his arm.
He'll be out by tomorrow, and then you two will be able to be together again.
Jeff's mother hugs Jeff and says her goodbyes. The next couple of weeks were those where Jeff was visited by his family. Then came the day where his bandages were to be removed. His family members were all there to see it. What he would look like. As the doctors unwrapped the bandages, everyone was on edge of this. They waited until the last bandage holding the cover over his face was almost removed.
Let's hope for the best,
said the doctor. He quickly pulls the cloth, letting the rest fall from Jeff's face.
What the fuck is that
Just
bedside
mother.
manner? You
What?
talk to a burn patient, you're removing the bandages, and it's like, well, let's hope you're not an absolute freak.
Let's hope I did my job right. Jeff's mother screams at the sight of his face. Lou and Jeff's dads stare, awestruck at his face.
What? What happened to my face?
Jeff said. He rushed out of bed and ran into the bathroom. He looked in the mirror and saw the cause of the distress. His face, it's horrible. His lips were burnt to a deep shade of red. His face was turned into a pure white color, and his hair singed from brown to black. He slowly put his hands on his face. It had a sort of leathery feel to it now. He looked back at his family, then at the mirror.
Jeff,
Said Lou.
it's not that bad. Not that bad?
Said Jeff.
It's perfect.
His family was equally surprised. Jeff started laughing uncontrollably. His parents noticed that his left eye and hands twitching.
Jeff? Are you okay? Okay! I've never felt more happy! Look at me! This face goes perfectly with me!
He couldn't stop laughing. He stroked his face, feeling it, looking at it at the mirror. What caused this? Well, you may recall that when Jeff was fighting Randy, something in his mind, his sanity, snapped. Now, he was left as a crazy killing machine. That is, his parents didn't know,
Doctor,
said Jeff's mom.
is my son alright? You know, in the head? Oh, yes. This behavior is typical for patients that have taken very large amounts of painkillers. If his behavior doesn't change in a few weeks, bring him back, and we'll give him a psychological test. I can hear you
This is awful.
slamming your head into the table.
This is absolutely.
Doctor,
What the fuck?
my son's tweaking out for real, for real. What the fuck is wrong with him? Well,
That's fine.
Your
You just had
son's
a shit ton of morphine.
well, for freaks like that, this is normal. If he doesn't shape up, bring him back. You can return him.
Bring him back and we'll do something different, I guess.
We'll give him more painkillers. Oh, thank you, Doctor.
Jeff's mother went over to Jeff.
Jeff, sweetie, it's time to go.
Jeff looks away from the mirror, his face still full to a crazy smile.
Okay, Mommy.
His mother took him by the shoulder and took him to get his clothes,
This is what came in.
said the lady at the desk. Jeff's mom looked down to see The black dress pants, white hoodie her son wore. Now they were clean of blood and now stitched together. Jeff's mother led him to his room and made him put his clothes on. Then they left, not knowing this was their final day of life. Later that night, Jeff's mother woke up to a sound coming from the bathroom. It sounded as if someone was crying. She slowly walked over to see what it was. When she looked into the bathroom, she saw a horrendous sight. Jeff had taken a knife and carved a smile into his cheeks.
Jeff, what are you doing?
Asked his mother. Jeff looked over to his mother.
I couldn't keep smiling, Mommy. It hurt after a while. Now I can smile forever.
Jeff's mother noticed his eyes, ringed in black.
Jeff, your eyes!
His eyes were seemingly never closing.
I couldn't see my face. I got tired and my eyes started to close. I burned out my eyelids so I could forever see myself, my new face.
Jeff's mother slowly started back away, seeing that her son was going insane.
What's wrong, Mommy? Aren't I beautiful? Yes, son,
she said.
Yes, you are. Let me go get Daddy so he can see your face.
She ran into the room and shook Jeff's dad from his sleep.
Honey, get the gun.
She stopped as she saw Jeff in the doorway, holding a knife.
Mommy, you lied.
That's the last thing they hear as Jeff rushes them with the knife, gutting both of them. His brother Lou woke up, startled by some noise. He didn't hear anything else, so he just shut his eyes, tried to go back to sleep. As he was on the border of slumber, he got the strangest feeling that someone was watching him. He looked up before Jeff's hand covered his mouth, raised them, plunged it into Lou. Lou thrashed there and trying to escape Jeff's grip.
Shh.
Jeff said.
Just go to sleep. And that was Jeff the Killer.
That was Jeff the pile of shit, is what that was.
That was awful. That was awful.
So, they get their son from the hospital, and he's clearly not doing mentally well. And instead of trying to get him mental help, because obviously he's been through a severe amount of trauma, they see that he is mutilating himself. And instead of going to help him, the mom goes to the dad and just goes, "We need to kill Jeff."
This is awful. This is an awful story.
And it got popular.
Why?
I don't know.
Because everyone wanted to be the... When was this released?
I'm pretty sure in like 2012.
Publisher's note. According to the character's original creator, Cesar, he is not the author of the tale featured here, and claims this popular version of Jeff the Killer's story is fan fiction, written by a follower of his early work, which has since been lost. For the original story of Jeffrey Hodek, per the vision of the character's original creator, you can visit Cesar's DeviantArt post here. I'm looking
He originated on DeviantArt. We were just talking about DeviantArt earlier. And he came from DeviantArt. It's a DeviantArt OC. Oh no, the 5,000-pound Discord moderator is going back to DeviantArt.
Oh my god.
Oh man. This character's from 2008, by the way. So like very early in the internet. And I don't know if you caught on to this, but did you notice that they kind of wrote Jeff the Killer like one of those "I'm not like other guys" kind of person?
Yeah.
I don't wanna. I don't wanna
Why?
play
Why does this
cowboys.
have
I'm too
an
old for that
8?
stuff. And he's
Why does this have an 8 out of 10?
because so with a lot of the original creepypastas, people will just hype it up regardless of the quality. For people like you, where it has an 8 out of 10 and you're like, "Oh, this must be good." And then you read it and you realize it's this.
Yeah.
So, fun fact. Obviously, Jeff the Killer is bad. It was so bad that it got taken off multiple creepypasta sites. It is so bad that there everybody tried to make their own OC of it to do better. And it got to the point where they had to ban everybody who ever made a insert name the killer OC. Or like it was a really major rule for a really long time. Until one day, the people running plenty of the creepypasta sites decided, let's host a contest to rewrite Jeff the Killer, because apparently it's popular enough to where people want to see it on the site. So let's write a better version of it. And there was a competition. And there were 15 entries going over to attempt to make the new Jeff the Killer story that would be put onto the creepypasta forums. You can still find all 15 of those stories. So, I'm going to put this on the table. If we get 1,000 likes on this video, we will dedicate however many episodes it takes to read all 15 of them, starting from placement number 15 and working our way all the way to number 1. What do you say, announcer?
Yeah.
Do you think the number should be higher?
No. No. I
1,000
just
likes?
don't want to read anymore, Jeff. Yeah, 1,000.
Okay. I would have tried to argue 100, but I don't feel like you'd go for 100. Could I convince you to go down to 100?
Let's have a reasonable goal here. 100. Sorry, I'm dealing with something.
So you're willing to read 15 versions of Jeff the Killer for 100 likes?
Yeah.
Could I work it down to 50?
No.
Okay. I'll take 100. So, this video gets to 100 likes. We will dedicate however many parts we need to in order to be able to read through all 15 Jeff the Killer stories. I'm happy about that. And this has been the Creepy Crowns. Now, announcer, to
What?
start wrapping up this episode, we have to rank the stories. So, to recap, for the people who either haven't seen the episode or don't remember from last episode, in spot number 1, we have the Harbinger experiment. Spot number 2, we have the Russian sleep experiment. And spot number 3, we have Gateway of the Mind. For Tall, Thin, and Faceless, where should we put it?
I'm on my list. I'm gonna put Tall, Thin, and Faceless. Faceless. I'm just gonna go in we read. So Tall, Thin, and Faceless, right below Experiment of the Mind, or
Gateway of the Mind.
And then the Rake underneath that one. I might actually wait. No, it's the Rake, Tall, Thin, and Faceless, and then Jeff the Killer is at the bottom as the most bottom you can do.
So currently it's
Like,
6th place.
No. Like 100th place.
Okay. I'm only going to put it at 6th because I'm not going to make 100 spots just so that way I can put Jeff the Killer at 100. So you're going to put Tall, Thin, and Faceless behind Gateway of the Mind? I kind of want to argue that we that we put the Rake and Tall, Thin, and Faceless in front of Gateway of the Mind. And I'd probably put even though the Rake is shorter, I'd probably put the Rake above Tall, Thin, and Faceless. You know? Just because the Rake is a little more it doesn't have as many plot holes as
Yeah.
Tall, Thin, and Faceless.
Yeah.
I might. I'll put Tall, Thin, and Faceless behind Gateway of the Mind, and
Okay.
then I will put the Rake in front of Gateway of the Mind. So, just so that way people are aware. First place is still the Harbinger experiment, followed by the Russian sleep experiment. In third place is the Rake, followed by Gateway of the Mind, Tall, Thin, and Faceless, and Jeff the Killer in last place, where he will probably stay for a while. Now, let's just clarify that the placements of these stories are purely subjective opinions based on the both of us, and it does not say anything about the quality of the other stories. Announcer might object with exception to Jeff the Killer. It's just where we decided to place them.
Yeah.
And that is our second episode of Feardromida. Announcer, do you have any closing statements?
No.
No?
No.
Come on, say at least something.
I hate Jeff the Killer. Wasn't even scary.
Thank you, everyone who has made it to this point, for watching this episode of Feardromida. And just remember, don't buy suits from people in creepy cabins. Always make sure to check the end of your bed for potential creepy figures. And police cannot just say you are going to juvie for a year just because. And announcer is probably going insane. So, have a good night, everybody.
Good night. Bye.